Welcome to the Direct Insurance Podcast, Uncensored, where real talk meets real strategy for independent agents. Get ready for insights, expert tips, and some brutally honest advice to help you level up your business. Now, here are your hosts, Jason McClellan and Andy Daster, the Insurance Buddies.
All right, Andy, I'm excited. We've got some great things we're talking about here. We're talking about the future of under 65 health insurance, the disruption, the opportunities. So now we get to dive into some of the details of those products. And we've got an exciting new product to talk about. I'm excited to have you here to talk about it. You understand that product inside and out. And again, not only does it create a tremendous opportunity for the agents from a product standpoint, but a financial standpoint. So let's talk a little bit more about that, and I'll let you introduce these new products that we're so excited about.
Yeah, so one of the things I wanted to first start out by saying is that the USA Health Plans is a platform of ACA-compliant products. But before we dive deep into that, let's talk about why we need them. So in an earlier segment, we talked about the disruption going on in the ACA space. So agents are going to need ACA alternatives. That's really the whole gist of this whole conversation.
Right. So when we talk opportunity, like ACA is just a small part now.
It's just a small part.
Changing.
It's one piece. I'm not saying that you don't need it. I'm just saying it's just one piece, no one size fit all. Okay, so what fits in the ACA alternative bucket? Well, I put those into two categories. ACA alternative that's affordable, ACA alternative that's comprehensive.
Okay.
So let's talk about what those two buckets are. So the affordable bucket is probably for people that are losing their subsidies and still are looking for a landing place that has good coverage, a good network. They're in reasonably good health, and but they still are price sensitive.
So you're talking kind of your middle income.
Yep.
Middle to higher income.
But everybody would love the most benefits, but they probably can't afford $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 a month. Most people can't. So the affordable bucket has all kinds of great products like indemnity plans and limited benefit, limited meds, short-term medicals. They all fit into that affordable ACA alternative bucket. But the product that I wanted to spend time, it would fit into the ACA alternative comprehensive bucket.
Okay.
And here's why I like these products. So for those people that are looking for the most comprehensive benefits, that are looking for the broadest and deepest PPO networks, and are in reasonably good health, because there's some health questions they got to be able to get through, USA Health Plans, that platform was really built with those people in mind, starting with the EBA Sigma PPO product.
Okay.
So I want to spend a little time, if it's okay, talking about that product.
So this platform, we're going to get into one core product, but it has others.
It has a whole portfolio of products that, by the way, I love this about it, consolidated agent contracting, quoting, enrollment, billing, commissions, all on one platform, and you only need to get contracted through Insurance Advisors Direct one time, and now you're contracted to sell every product regardless of the carrier on there.
Absolutely amazing.
So
I can't tell you. I mean, how many times have we dealt with a platform, the multitude of products, and we have to literally go through one by one. We have an agent that needs 10 contracts all of a sudden, and releases and all those other challenges that come into play. So you're saying that's gone?
It's all gone.
Okay.
All at one time.
Amazing.
About 48 hours, you get a writing number and a link, you're ready to go. That's simple. There are a slew of products on there. Maybe we can get into those a little bit later, including things like accident and critical illness and dental and vision. All those
all important products
are important, and all of those can be stacked with the core major medical product. With a consolidated quoting, enrolling, and billing experience for everybody. Yeah, it's awesome. So let's spend a little time talking about the major medical, because that's kind of the flagship. I think, as I'd mentioned to you, it's about 60% of the sales, not just in terms of premium, but in terms of even app count, are the EBA Sigma PPO product.
And this is available most states?
Most states, 40 plus, not all. There's a couple states where it's not allowed. The usual suspects, Alaska, Hawaii, New York, things like that. But most of the rest of the country, this platform has products available in almost every state, but not all. So when you get your quoting link, you're going to see the whole platform of products that are available, and one of the first ones that'll be on there for the individual market, by the way, opportunity alert. It also works for groups, but we'll come back to that.
Okay, great.
I saw a surprised look on your face. Maybe you didn't even know.
I probably missed that.
You
yeah,
can
the
write
last
groups on
time
there
we've
too.
talked, yeah.
Well, we'll get back to that.
Good.
But the Sigma EBA product is basically it's on the chassis of a level funded group product for one.
Okay.
It's that simple. Level funded group has been around for decades. There's hundreds of millions of dollars in premium from level funded group industry. It's not new. All the companies in the industry have one. And all that makes this different is it's a group of one.
Okay.
That's basically it. That makes it nice and easy to explain to a consumer that literally all you're doing is buying group insurance for one person. And when I say one person or a family or whatever.
But there's no extra steps. There's
Nope.
nothing they need to complete to prove that they're a group.
Nope,
It's just
nope. It's just
doing
literal-
a normal traditional enrollment.
Yep, they wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So in terms of the product, man, you're going to love this part. Good old-fashioned co-pays for doctor visits. You're going to have, remember our old days,
Oh, yeah.
Jason, we go back a long ways, deductible and co-insurance
Yeah.
for inpatient hospitalizations. Good old-fashioned co-pays for prescription drugs, which are covered, by the way, including specialty drugs.
Excellent.
Which again,
It's important.
It's important. Unlimited benefit, no caps.
That's a huge thing.
It's huge.
I know that was
Unlimited.
a drawback to a lot of other varieties a few years ago is people didn't like that annual cap.
They didn't like it.
As few times as it would ever happen,
Almost never.
nobody wanted to say, well, I can only have access to $1 million or
And-
whatever the cap was.
And they would always come up with one example of Aunt Susie who
course,
got
yeah.
into a car accident and spent $3 million in the hospital.
Right.
So you're like, okay, well, so is this not going to cover me if that happens?
Right.
With this product, it is unlimited benefit.
Yeah, that's huge.
The last thing that is exciting about this is it does provide minimum essential coverage. It is therefore ACA compliant.
Okay.
And minimum essential coverage means that you get your preventive and wellness covered at 100% with no copay and no out-of-pocket expenses. So that's pretty darn comprehensive. This is like the
that's
major
incredible.
medical of old, right?
Yeah, it's the way.
Except the price part.
Right. Yeah.
come back to
We'll
that.
get into that. Yeah.
But from the standpoint of coverage, benefits, copays, deductible co-insurance, unlimited benefits, preventive and wellness covered. I mean, this is the major medical plan your mom told you to get.
I don't know if this is, if we need to spend too much time, but tell me a little bit more about preventative and wellness. I think that's become a big topic for people, trying to do something now before it's too late or before it becomes a bigger issue.
And it's one of the things that a lot of plans fall short on, whether that's ACA alternative plans, even something like a MedSup falls short because of a deductible. So by having preventive and wellness covered at 100%, it encourages people to get their well checks.
Yep.
All of the preventive services are actually defined by the government. You can actually go to healthcare.gov and say, tell me all of the procedures that are considered preventive. There's a set for men, there's a set for women, and there's a set for kids. And the government defines it. So every single thing that you see on that list is going to be covered because the government requires it. That's why it's defined as minimum essential coverage. And that even includes preventive prescriptions. Yeah, there's some preventive prescriptions. Examples include things like birth control. Hey, the government says that birth control is on the list. It's on the list. We'll see if that's not in the future, but right now, those kinds of things are on the list, and therefore it must be covered at 100% with no out-of-pocket costs.
Right.
So I still didn't answer your question, though. There is a huge impact on people who have no out-of-pocket costs for their preventive and wellness. And that is they are much more, significantly more likely to seek preventive care. They're more likely to stay out in front of things.
Right.
They're more likely to not go to the emergency room because something happened.
Yep.
They're more likely to be healthier, live longer, and live a better life. I know that's an awful tall task just for some lousy benefit, but all the numbers prove it out. People who consistently get preventive care live longer and live better.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's great. That's a huge benefit. Any other benefits that maybe would either be unique to this product or just that agents would be excited to hear about?
I think the simplicity is the part that I like. It's so easy to explain. You're going to have copays for doctor visits and urgent care.
Right.
You're going to have deductible and co-insurance for inpatient hospitalizations and surgeries.
Right.
I think most Americans have come to the point where they can understand those basic coverage options.
Sure.
And I think the thing I like about it is that it gives the consumer an expectation they can understand. There is nothing worse than giving your wife a medical ID card, and then she asks you, well, what's going to happen when I go to the doctor?
Right.
And you're not really sure.
Right. No, true.
They might charge you $200. They may,
Sure.
they may not. You don't know. But when instead you're explaining it to the client, hey, when you go to the doctor, it's $25.
Right.
When you check out, they're going to ask you for $25. That's it.
And all the billing, everything's done
Everything
direct
is done.
to the carrier? Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Speaking of which, that's another thing I really like about this plan. It uses, in our portfolio, the broadest and deepest PPO network in the industry, the Sigma PPO network. And
Excellent.
yes, the Sigma PPO is on the ID card because that's what it is.
Right.
So when you go to the doctor and the doctor says, well, what do you have? You're going to say, I'm in the Sigma PPO network. And the doctor's going to go, oh, I know what that is.
Right.
You don't have to try to explain this weird network that nobody's ever heard of, or it's really easy to use.
So really, even though this isn't on the marketplace, it's not what we would consider a traditional plan in these last few years, you really don't have to explain it any differently. It's not like you're putting them into a program that has extreme limitations or they have to pay out of pocket and then be reimbursed. I mean, it just works like a normal health insurance plan.
Like what consumers think health insurance
Right.
should work like.
So it works normal. Okay,
It works
good.
normal,
Yeah.
right. We're spending more time explaining it than an agent should.
Right.
It's not.
Okay, perfect.
It's really simple.
So this should be real easy for agents.
Now you've got an ID card, and you go to the doctor, and you slap down the Signa PPO network, and they say you owe $25, or whatever your copay
Okay.
is. Most of them are $25. It's just that simple.
That's it. Excellent.
And you're done, and everything else happens behind the scenes.
Yep.
Now, if you're going to the hospital, still slapping down the Signa PPO ID card.
Okay.
The only thing that's different is your deductible and coinsurance. So what would happen? Let's talk about that scenario.
Yep.
Okay, so now I am going for a surgery. I slap down my card. Surgical center says, okay, we're going to work with Signa PPO to get this all set up for you. And by the time you check out, you're going to owe the deductible plus your coinsurance, and everything beyond that is going to be covered by the plan, and up to the maximum out of pocket.
Okay.
That's a wrap on this episode of DIP Uncensored featuring the Insurance Buddies. Still have questions? Head over to IADBrokerage.com to find helpful resources and connect with an independent agent who can guide you through the process. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast wherever you get your shows.